Hi, everybody. This is Loren Baker, founder of Search Engine Journal. And with me today, I have Nicky Wake of Don't Panic Events and We Are Search, and also of the Search Awards. Hey, Nicky, how's it going?
Yeah, no, going really well. So welcome to everybody from here in the UK, a little later here than it is for you guys, but I'll stay awake and keep with it. Don't worry.
Thanks for making the sacrifice.
Things are good. We're missing being able to visit stateside, obviously, at the moment, but yeah, good to connect, obviously, with everybody.
Absolutely. And just to let everyone know, the US Search Awards have been sponsoring some of our recent podcast episodes. This is number 3 out of 5. So the first 2, we had Simon Heseltine and Mark Traphagen on, 2 former winners and judges. I'm a former judge and winner myself. So I'm invested in learning more about the awards, and I really love the idea. But one thing that has really jumped out at me, Nicky, since you got started is like Search Awards, the US Search Awards, correct me if I'm wrong, have been around. This is the 9th year?
Yes, this is year 9. Yeah, absolutely, which has just made me feel very old, Loren. Thank you. Year 9. Some of which are a blur in Vegas, but yes, it's definitely year 9. So yeah.
And how long in the UK?
So we're 10 years in UK, hurtling into 11. So wow. Yeah, it's it was funny. So we started in the UK 10 years ago, and that came out of a search conference called SaaSCon, which we did in the UK, and it was the first time I'd ever come across the search community. And we a couple of local search influencers in Manchester said, we need to run a conference, and will you do it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And we ran lots of different digital marketing conferences at that point, but we'd never done anything in the search niche, that really focused kind of search crowd. And I spent 3 days with the search crowd in Manchester and just saw the incredible impact that quality search campaigns had in terms of bottom line for massive clients. So we're talking, certainly if you look at the verticals of like finance and travel and leisure, where you guys are, and just the impact that certain search agencies were having. And the openness in the search community was the bit that blew my mind, that people would stand on stage at a conference and tell people how they did stuff. And you're thinking, I would never stand on a events industry conference and tell people how I did stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of real openness and sharing of knowledge, and the massive ROI that search agencies were having to their clients. We worked on various other awards like social media awards and PR awards and marketing awards, and all of a sudden I had this moment, like this epiphany, if you like, where I realized there wasn't an awards for the search industry, but the search industry arguably were having a much bigger effect on the bottom line of their clients than some of the marketing or digital or PR or anything else were. And it was like, this needs recognizing it in some way. So that was 11 years ago. And we are where we are now, which is we built an awards. It was for the search awards in the UK initially. And we didn't call it the UK Search Awards. We just called it the Search Awards. I didn't have any global ambition or plan at that point. And then the search industry got so massively behind it. And as you know, they're a really fabulously engaged community. And they took this on as their own. Like, I don't work on another awards like it. It's frightening. It's almost like I don't own this awards. The community own this awards. The industry owns this awards. And they started calling it the UK Search Awards. And so much so that someone actually emailed me and said, and I don't know who, I can't remember who this was, but I need to say a huge thank you to them. They emailed me going, you need to buy the domain, UK Search Awards. And we did. And then we launched the European Search Awards 6 months later. So first UK Search Awards was massive, huge success. Anyone who worked in search in the UK was there. And so we launched the European Search Awards, which was in Amsterdam. And then Dixon Jones, lovely Dixon from Majestic, and obviously one of our awards personality winners, introduced me to Brett, and the rest is history.
Amazing, amazing. So you already had the award infrastructure set up from different events that you had done in the past and conferences and stuff like that. But you applied it to, you said, hey, look, the search industry that everyone is just incredibly helping their clients. And at the same time, search SEO to an extent can be kind of a thankless job from time to time because you're doing the work behind the scenes, but you're not necessarily exposing everything that you do, because no one wants to expose everything that they do to Google at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason we don't have Google on our judging panels, shall we?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, because I think there had been some digital awards in the past, but they were like here and there, like there was really no organization behind them. And then suddenly you enter the US market and it's like, it's in Vegas and it's in a ballroom and there's musicians and a vodka luge and or maybe it was a Jaeger luge the first year. I don't remember, but I just know it was a luge. And like for me seeing that, like I had heard of the Clios and advertising awards and stuff like that. But I think you really like hit the nail on the head in terms of like an industry where people are not just, there's not just a community feel. And it is really like, you're not the first person that's told me like, hey, how come everyone in your industry shares what they do with their competitors, right? And I don't think it's as much as an ego thing as it is like sharing. Just when you're in the infancy stage in the industry, it's always good to get it out there. And I think we all love what we do and we like the people that we work with. So I think it was kind of a perfect storm for you on that end. And when you first started in the US 9 years ago, was it a challenge to get going with being part of PubCon? Was it a challenge? Because you have more award categories now than you had back then, correct?
We do indeed. So we've just delivered the European Search Awards, which had 63 categories.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think there is a reason why, because it's a virtual awards in Europe at the moment. We'll go live next year. But we sent everybody who was shortlisted what we call a care package. So like a box with a load of branded goods in it and stuff from sponsors. And one of our items was a shot glass, which was branded We Are Search, which is possibly the only way you're going to get through 63 categories. So, you know, it is a fine line between understanding how you structure an awards to celebrate enough of the industry, but also to make it a entertaining factor. But yeah, you know, we were very lucky that we had the support of Brett and the team at PubCon, and they were almost our ticket into the marketplace. They gave us the credibility, they gave us the support, and they were entirely welcoming and were happy to have us as part of their show. It's quite hard to find a territory, which we've now discovered, that has a conference but doesn't have its own awards. And obviously PubCon has various social events, so things like the Epic Dinner, which Alan does a fantastic job on, and you know, loads of other drinks and receptions. But I think Brett recognized he wanted a gala dinner and the Vaucluge and the band and you know, the reason to get dressed up, although it always makes me laugh. The kind of dress code for these things, because some people go in black tie and then other people just rock up in their jeans and PubCon t-shirt, and that's fine, you know.
You're lucky if they're wearing jeans. I think Joe Siegowitz showed up in shorts and flip-flops.
Hawaiian shorts go a long way. the beauty of the crowd is it's whatever goes. We're there to celebrate and reward exceptional work in search, and I think the whole community appreciate that. They like the validation that the awards give, and we are our kind of three tenets, if you like, are ethical, transparent, credible. And our judges, we're one of the few awards that judges aren't allowed to enter and judge. So there's a lot of other awards out there, and as you said, a lot of other broader awards. We are so defined and specific on search. But a lot of the other broader digital awards, people can enter and they can judge, or they can enter, sponsor and judge. And that muddies the waters somewhat. And we're very clear that if you want to judge these awards, you are not allowed to enter. And I think that gives credibility. And the judges are the most passionate bunch. And I use that term as approval, in the sense it's great they're passionate, but when you've been locked in a room with them for 12 hours and they're still arguing about a SERP, it is. I remember one particular year we were judging the European Search Awards in Berlin, I think, and 12 hours later we're still in the room and we're only halfway through, and I was just like, I'm sending for beer, because it's just got to that point in the night. And they do. What I love about my judges is that they are absolutely opinionated, devised. They argue and they take it absolutely to heart, that they will not put their name against something they're not happy with, and that. It's lovely to have judges who care. We run 30 awards across the entire global spectrum, across all marketing disciplines now. But the Search Awards are the ones I'm proudest of, because the judges live and breathe and almost become our biggest advocates, in the sense that there's obviously a chat stream going on during the European Search Awards announcements, and you're always going to get some people who are disgruntled, because unfortunately not everyone can be a winner. And I'm not running a first grade sports day. It's like
trophy for participation trophies.
As credible as we can. But our judges are our biggest advocates, and they are a fantastic, committed bunch who literally, you've done it, you know what it's like. You get, you're sat on a Sunday evening and then you get an email drop into your inbox and it's like, here's 100 case studies you need to read. It's like, really?
Yeah, it was intense.
It's hard work. Yet they all do it. And, I'm sure they get a lot of industry knowledge from it. So I've got one particular judge, Wolfgang, who are based out in Dublin. And he said to me, it's the best CPD, continual professional development, I get all year, because I get to read 50 brilliant case studies, and then I understand what's going on in the industry. So, and with that, as a terrible plug at this point, and I do apologize, Loren, is we're looking for new judges all the time. So,
there you go.
If anyone is interested in judging, ideally we like client-side judges, because obviously agencies don't really like to be judged by other agencies, but we're open and welcoming. So if anyone wants to judge, then do get in touch with us, and we'd love to talk further.
I know that one judge this year is very excited, is Roger Monti from the SEJ team. He is extremely excited about judging.
I'm very excited to have him
this year, and very serious about it too. And that's one thing I really did appreciate when I did have the chance to judge, was that I got the packets in the mail, researched everything, got on the conference call, and it was a passionate group.
Yeah.
It really was. And another thing I liked about it too, I'm not sure how much of I don't want to give away too much. I'm not sure how much this is confidential or not, but the judges were thinking of new categories to add while we were having the conversation. Yeah. It's like, absolutely. It's like, hey, there's the personality. What about the young kids that are just starting in the industry now? And let's showcase them, or let's do a male and a female, like up and comer. Let's how can we add to this? And it really gives that sense, the sense of it being you're part of the entire thing, right? It's something bigger than you, but you're also part of it, which was really rewarding as well, I would say.
And absolutely, we're not, I run great events worldwide, but I'm not a search industry expert. And we use our judging panels to educate us in terms of, obviously, search is a continually changing feast, isn't it? Stuff, new algorithms, everything happens every other week, as you all know way too well. Yeah, I keep seeing stuff about
especially this week.
Exactly. So we use the judges' industry knowledge and intelligence to help us shape and change the categories. So certain categories become obsolete every year. So things like we used to have a best use of mobile, and it's like, well, everything's mobile these days. That doesn't count anymore. And then you obviously have things like voice search. And so, like with everything, the categories will ebb and flow over the years. Certain things will stay consistent, and there's verticals, and we always work in those. But the judges are our eyes and ears on the ground in the industry, and they make sure that we are still relevant, appropriate, and ethical and transparent.
That's a lot to pull. And so you have 43 categories in the US this year. Mm-hmm. Are the judges still split up? So they're not judging all? So how does that typically work?
If I send them all to judges, they'll never speak to me again. So we tend to have around 40 or 50 judges on an awards of the US size, and they will be split into panels of 6 or 8 judges. We always try and have a kind of senior judge who's judged before as the kind of head judge on the panel. And so they can help tutor new judges into the way that we score. What is very new, I think, since you judged, actually. So we're now giving feedback to every entrant. So if you enter the Search Awards, post-event, you will get an email that allows you to log in, and you can see the judges' feedback on your entry. You can also see what your score was against all of the other scores, and so we are totally above board and transparent about this stuff now. This is the thing that we were getting from people is, why am I not winning? I don't understand why I'm not winning. And they don't understand the quality of entrants that we have. And they don't understand how to improve their entry. So what we're doing now is everyone who enters gets feedback. So they know how to improve their future entry and the kind of stuff that judges are looking for. So they get a couple of positive comments. They also get some constructive comments, which are like, actually, better structure, you needed to do this more, give us a bit more detail on ROI, where was the budget. Obviously, we vet and moderate all of that before it goes out, because judges can be quite vocal at times. So we need to make sure that it's appropriate and right. But I think it's really important, if you've invested and paid to enter a competition, that you have an understanding of where you scored, how you scored, and how you can improve in future. And then we also have working with a guy called Dave Edmondson-Bird, who is he's a senior principal lecturer in digital marketing at Manchester Metropolitan University, which is local to where we are. But he's working with us as our chair of judging standards. So he's doing training sessions with new judges. He's educating judges as to the kind of qualitative feedback they should be giving. So we're really trying to close that loop, that it's not just a commercial. There are loads of commercial awards out there that you can enter, and quite a few that are dodgy. You just pay enough, you win. We're not like that. We are 120% above board. And I really want the whole entry process to be useful and beneficial to an organization who enters, because I know firsthand the difference it can make. If you enter and you win, say, best SEO retail, when you then go and pitch for an SEO retail client, you can go, I'm the best in the US. that's transformational in terms of closing that pitch and winning that piece of business. And so what we're trying to do is give people the tools to compete at the very best and top of their game, and understand what judges are looking for. That's really important. We're all about benchmarking the best in the industry, and that is the bit that we're passionate about. Is, we don't want anyone to win who doesn't deserve that mantle, because the judges have to put their names to that, and they won't if it isn't brilliant. So, we often say to people, just to be shortlisted is a massive achievement, and it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the number of entries that we get against the ones we shortlist, there are disappointed people every year. So if you make the shortlist, use your shortlist badge, shout about that success. Obviously, if you win, brilliant. But yeah.
Right. And, one thing I definitely got out of entering the awards after judging was an exercise in creating valuable case studies, right? Because there is still somewhat of a mindset in the world of SEO that ranking and traffic is the most important thing you can do, right? But when you're challenged to sit down and put together a case study on the ROI, like treating it as a ROAS, like return on ad spend style scenario, it really gets you thinking differently, and then also writing differently. And when I was a judge, I did notice there were some award entries that were just kind of done in haste. Just we did this, yada yada yada, copy paste, submit, right? And there were some where you can tell that there was really a lot of time put into not only the writing to articulate the campaign, what the goals were and things like that, but also the data behind it, screenshots, everything else at the end of the day. So what I would say would be valuable to me, not only having, an award to put on my pitch deck right after pitch deck slide, maybe slide 1, search awards, slide 2, SEJ, right? and then, but also how to communicate that as well, how to communicate what you do and how it helps your client's business grow more so than how it helps your own business. I found that to be quite valuable at the end of the day. And then another thing that Simon was talking about was being an in-house SEO. And he's won, I think, best SEO team when he was at forrent.com and then now at Trader Interactive as well, is how much that kind of opens up the ability to get things done and communicate that internally within the company, that, first of all, your team did this, but the team doesn't do it on their own. Development helps. These people helps. The ability to share internally as well has definitely been something, and then help to get things done, right?
Absolutely. We'd love to see more entries from in-house. I think the problem there is it's harder for in-house to justify the sign-off financially, the entry fees, than perhaps an agency, because it's very easy to color the idea that we invest X, we win X awards, we can put that into our business plan. That's harder for an internal team, but actually in some ways more powerful. And we talk a lot about the power of being an award-winning team in terms of recruitment, retention, reward for your teams. Being able to take your team to a fancy gala dinner and show them a great night out and go, look what you did, guys, that's amazing, is really important. So yeah, I'd love to see, and I would welcome more in-house entries. We obviously do very well and have a fantastic agency database, and we love to see entries from those guys, but it's it'd be nice to kind of balance that out a little bit, definitely, going forward.
In addition to writing in-depth entries and things like that, are there any other tips for people who may be submitting for the first time?
Yeah, I'm going to bang on about tie your, and I'm sure Simon did this, and if he didn't, I'll shout at him, but tie your objectives to your results. So there's the entry form is very clearly in like 5 sections, I think, from memory. And each of those sections gets marked equally. So if you don't put as much effort into section 5 as you do as section 1, you're going to suffer. So bear that in mind, and put your detail throughout the questions in the entry. But definitely objectives. You know, what did you set out to do? What was the client wanting, or what was the internal client wanting? And then what did we achieve? And if you can say, you know, we were looking to do a 20% increase in traffic to the site in terms of spend, or we were looking to minimize the bounce rate, and then tie the results to that to show that actually you've done what you started to, so what you set out to achieve. And I think that's probably one of the most frustrating things for judges is when they read an entry and they need to kind of fill in the gaps. You know, you haven't told the story. So tell the story, massively importantly. Give the detail and give numbers. Judges love numbers. You know, they are absolutely stat driven. And, you know, we got a 20% increase doesn't mean anything. We got a 20% increase of X that delivered X means something. And
that's a direct result of.
Give us the detail. We want the detail. The other thing to bear in mind is word count, which is a really like nerdy thing to say, but judges are looking at 50 plus entries. So you think that the word count total of 1,000 and you've gone to 1,200 doesn't make a difference. It does if every 51 entries does that, you know. So yeah, less is more sometimes. Tell the story, but do it succinctly. Infographics are your friend. You know, that like paint a picture with some, you know, good graphs and some bold colors and make it zing on the page, I think is part of it. People feel like they need to write, you know, War and Peace, and they really don't. Judges love a pithy, punchy entry that gives them the figures they need, and they like to be able to read it and see that quickly. And if you can deliver that, you know, you're some way to going that, and you see it time after time. I dread to think how many judging sessions I've sat through, and to the point that I now understand the search, and I can go to a search conference and actually understand what the hell people are talking about, even though I'm an event manager, which is really worrying. I remember sitting through Brighton SEO once going, oh, I understand this stuff. And it's like, right, that's really worrying. Never wanted to be a search expert. But yeah, and I think it's just tell the tale, tell the picture, and don't use too many words would be my advice.
Efficient brevity is your friend. I like what you brought up about infographics too, because a lot of us in search do infographics. Mm-hmm. We do it as a way to like attract links or try to get something to go viral on social. But at the end of the day, the reason why infographics were, I guess, invented was to take a lot of data and a lot of things that would typically take a lot of words and put it into an easy to digest, you know, one view over. Like, hey, I get it, right? So if you're going to do it for your clients or you're going to do it to promote your business, why not summarize and simplify your entry on that using that same technique? That's really interesting.
The other thing I would say is client testimonials.
There you go.
Are really powerful. So, you know, if you've got a quote from the head of marketing at, I don't know, insurance.com or whatever, saying this transformed our business, that is just worth its weight in gold. So make sure that almost one of the best pieces of advice I saw was we run how to win awards workshops, which we'll post details of the next one, and they're free and you sign up and you listen to how to win awards. But almost when you're going into a new campaign that you think is going to be great, because otherwise you wouldn't have pitched it and won it, is be thinking about it from an awards perspective when you first start. So, get the objectives from the client, agree what the ROI is, and then follow that up immediately post-campaign with a request for a quote that you can then use. Because one of the biggest delays we see, right, there's a reason I have as much grey hair as I do. It's because I run an awards company. And no one in the entire industry understands what the word deadline means.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. Deadline is like a thing on a day where it stops. And, we run 30 awards, and almost every Friday is a deadline day for us. And so, every Friday the phone rings off the hook with various "the dog ate my homework" type excuses.
Yeah, we're all procrastinators.
Exactly. But very often, a lot of those are around, I can't get this signed off by my client. So you almost need to go into that first conversation with your client going, this is going to be award winning. We would like to enter it. Can we get your sign off now? Can you provide us with some quotes by such a date? And kind of build that into your process, because client testimonials are one of the most powerful things, and judges love them.
That's not just really good advice from an awards perspective, but it's very good advice from a communicating wins to the C-suite and executive level perspective as well.
Yeah.
Right? What was our objective? Here's our solution. Here's the result. Here's how it grew. The ability to just simplify that process and have it step by step by step with sound definitions. So you're not going into the room where the CEO or CMO of the company is not an SEO expert. They don't want to listen to with this algorithm update or that update or this and that. They just want to listen to what we invested, what you did, what the opportunity was, what the result was, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's good advice for almost anyone, especially with the ability to communicate wins is an ability not everybody has, right? So I would think that doing that in an effort to win an award is a great way to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are certain agencies that just consistently win. I mean, you'll see we have a leaderboard of agencies across the entire of the Search Awards portfolio. And, the top 5 in that just know how to write brilliant entries and consistently deliver brilliant work for their clients, but are very good at capturing that, recording it and communicating it. And that, I think, there's probably other agencies that are doing similarly brilliant work, but just aren't capturing that. And I think that's the important bit, is if you want to win, you need to capture the info that the judges want to see.
Fantastic. So let's just go over a little bit of the timeline for the US Search Awards. I have here that you're going to have 43 categories this year. Like we said, it is the 9th year. And don't worry about gray hair, because as you can see, not only am I gray, but I'm lacking quite a bit on the top of my head here. So
I worry that's where I'm going next, Loren.
No. I think you're fine. So the categories include SEO, PPC, digital marketing, and content marketing.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I'm wrong here. It looks like the early bird access or the early bird entries end on June 18th.
Yeah, that's
which is
right.
in what, 2 weeks? 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
I know. I can't believe we're halfway through 2021 already.
Exactly. A week on Friday. Yeah, next week. So we're hurtling towards early bird deadline. And for anyone who doesn't understand deadline, that's the bit where you pay less to enter. So that's quite important.
That is important. And then the 25th of June, at the end of the month, is the final deadline. Is that correct?
So that costs slightly more to enter at that point, but there are conversations to be had with our team who can help you structure entries, agree when they're going to be in by, etc. So we do various deals like enter 10, get 2 free, and
nice.
Those kind of deals. So if anyone's looking at bulk entries, my team, we have a team of awards consultants whose job is to help you and handhold you through the process of your entries and talk about the various savings and opportunities. So I think the big thing I'd say is don't be afraid to pick up the phone. The team are there to help you. They're also there to help you in terms of what categories. So that's the thing I continually despair of sometimes, is that people enter the wrong category. And actually, a campaign often can do better in a vertical category, i.e. retail, finance, than just entering. Everyone enters best SEO or best PPC campaign, which is great. You know, it's good to get your entries in there as well. But think about the verticals, because less people will enter those. You stand a better chance of being shortlisted. And possibly the most depressing one is best low budget. Loads of people enter that. It's like, you don't want to be shouting about being low budget. You know what I mean? It's like you want to be, celebrating the amazing work you're doing. So low budget is there, and it's good for, very often budget challenged clients. But do think strategically about the categories you're going to enter, and talk to the team. If you're not sure, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. My team are there to help you and to try and make the whole process as successful and enjoyable as we can for you.
As long as you're not calling at 11:59 on June 25th.
Yeah, indeed. You know what? My phone's
asking for an extension. Yeah, that's a good night to turn off your phone.
To an entry call. So yeah, but ideally not. Definitely not. And obviously, given the time difference, us guys are UK based. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
11:59 your time's very early.
Too late already. So, and no wonder the entry deadline is so important. It looks like the shortlist is announced just about 3 weeks later on July 16th.
Yeah, absolutely. So the judges, bless them, get 2 weeks to judge. And then we do, so basically they pre-score. So the way it works, for anyone who doesn't know, is the judges are sent a selection of entries, which they pre-score, and they enter their individual scores for on the back end of the website. The panel of 6 or 8 judges on each category, we then create an average score for each entry. So you have 6 or 8 judges looking at your entry. We then get their pre-scores back. We create an average score per entry, and then that determines the shortlist. We then meet with the judges in a Zoom call, in effect, and discuss and debate the shortlist and agree a winner in each category. So it's kind of really rigorous 2-stage judging process that we go through. And, it is a belt and braces approach. We capture all the feedback at that point before that's given to entrants, after that. So, yeah, then the shortlist is announced. And so we announced the global Search Awards shortlist today. And if you look at the hashtag, it's just full of, people delighted and celebrating that they're shortlisted. So yeah.
It's fantastic. And then the final US Search Awards ceremony is on October 7th.
Yeah, which we would love to do live, but I think given the current challenges geographically for everybody in terms of travel and PubCon's plans, may be virtual, but we'll confirm that at the shortlist announcement date. Obviously, if we can deliver a live event in Vegas, we will do.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? This year and last year is where it is, but hopefully it's a once in a lifetime situation we've all been through, and we're absolutely planning to be back in Vegas 2022 at the latest. So
ready for the roaring 20s.
Absolutely.
Once this is over. Okay, so October 7th is the awards ceremony, which is more or less going to be virtual probably this year. And then hopefully this is the last year. So sounds really amazing. Nikki, you're in Manchester. It's getting pretty late there, I believe.
It is.
Are you ready for summer? You ready for summer in Manchester?
Yeah, I mean, actually, ironically, it's been nice weather in Manchester this week, which is a very rare. Where the equivalent of Seattle, I think, is probably what I would say. I.e., it rains a lot. So yeah, no, it's actually been really lovely, and hopefully hotting up for a nice summer ahead. But I have, it's 10:15 here now, and tomorrow I have to take my son for a day of crazy theme park madness tomorrow. So
that sounds like fun.
I will be upside down 7 times before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and
Well then, let's let you get some rest before you hit the roller coasters tomorrow morning.
Really lovely to chat to you guys, and we really appreciate all your support. So thank you. You guys have been consistent supporters of the awards for many years now, and we can't wait to party with you all in person again soon.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a party. And you know what? I'm in awe whenever I meet someone like you that has found an opportunity in a market. I mean, SEO, there's a lot of folks that have only been here for 9 years or 10 years in the industry, but finding an industry that was already 10 years, 12 years old at the time, and saying, hey, let's go in and let's do this. And the success that you've had, and just the passion that you have for the search awards, and then the industry and the community has reciprocated back to you, it's pretty amazing to see. So congratulations, because you found something that nobody else had done, and you've totally taken over the top. And there's been imitators out there, but it's not the same, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we love being part of the community. No other community have quite taken us to their hearts. So we love hanging out and partying. No one knows how to party like a search party. So
no, that's true. That's true. I'm sure there'll be quite a few partying virtually on the 7th of October as well.
Yeah,
maybe even some folks walking around Vegas with looking at their phones. Nicky, thanks again. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure connecting.
Absolute pleasure. Really lovely to hang out with you. Say hi to the whole team for me.
I will do. Well, thank you so much, Nicky. Thanks everyone for listening and who had a chance to view live today. This is Loren Baker and Nicky Wake from US Search Awards signing off on the SEJ show. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Search Engine Journal Show. If you liked this episode, subscribe to our channel for so much more and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing.